The Washington Huskies, undefeated at 12-0. Their quest for perfection continues next. Live from Los Angeles, it's Pac-12 Women's Volleyball presented by Tashikara. On the campus of UCLA inside Pauley Pavilion, it's a top 15 matchup. The 11th ranked UCLA Bruins welcoming the 5th ranked Washington Huskies. Taking a look at the AVCA poll as of Monday, Penn State lost earlier today, but as of Monday, Penn State atop the poll, 5 Pac-12 teams in the top 11. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anne-Marie Anderson alongside Josh Grau. And Josh, this Washington team undefeated, as I mentioned, what makes them special?
Well, they're putting up some fantastic numbers. They're leading the nation in hitting percentage. They're in the top 10 in blocks per set. So you can say a lot about them. However, it's very early still in the 2015 season and even earlier in the Pac-12 season. So I think tonight is going to be their first real test. I would say their pre-conference schedule was a little conservative. UCLA was a little bit more aggressive. So I would maybe rank them 1 or 2 points higher, Washington 1 or 2 points lower. So I think this is going to be a match of pure parity tonight. Well,
undisputed, each of these teams with great pin hitters.
Absolutely, that's totally correct. You've got Courtney Schwann for Washington, who has been leading the team in kills in every match this season. She's quick. She hits a fastball on the outside, and same can be true for Jordan Anderson, the transfer from West Virginia, putting up big numbers, heavy arm, but it's going to be a real test to see how she continues to adjust to Pac-12 volleyball.
Will the Huskies be able to remain perfect? Playing inside Pauley, the Bruins plan to spoil the party. We'll take you through lineups and first serve coming up right after the break. Today. Welcome back to the campus of UCLA, Pauley Pavilion, a top 15 matchup. Ready to get underway. Washington brings a lineup that's been very familiar to them. Carly DeHoog on the outside. They're going to run a 6-2 offense. Meanwhile, when we look at UCLA's lineup, they've been going back and forth between setters. And Coach Michael Sealy has decided on Ryan Chandler today to set. Josh, that's been something that Michael Sealy's been going back and forth about, different setters.
He has. He's been trying to find the right chemistry. Each has had their time starting. And Chandler did the best job last time against Cal.
We welcome those of you who just watched Arizona State defeat Stanford. Arizona State remains undefeated, while Penn State fell earlier today to Nebraska.
A rare loss for Penn State, but it is a pretty wild year for women's volleyball this season. A lot of parity across all the major conferences. So I predict we're going to see a lot of different upsets. Be hard-pressed to keep teams undefeated all season long.
Well, the Huskies sure are going to try tonight against the Bruins. The Bruins, 11th ranked team in the nation. And Taylor Formico is going to start things off serving. She's a junior from Mountain View. Gets a little help from the tape. Strickland sets. Chandler to Jordan Anderson. Change of pace works for Courtney Schwann.
Yep, nice off-speed shot, and she didn't give it away. She kept her arm nice and high and just rolled it right over the top of the block.
Washington's Bailey Tanner serving, redshirt sophomore out of San Clemente. A lot of times she'll spend a rotation up front. Overpass, overkill.
It was a huge opportunity for Washington to throw that back to UCLA.
Chandler back to serve. The redshirt sophomore out of Pepperdine took a year off, as we've mentioned in earlier broadcasts, after being a defensive specialist at Pepperdine. Off from the collegiate game, certainly not off from training. Formico. A little messy early on. From the backcourt, Scambray takes her first swing of the day. Strickland. 3-point stance, and she still gets it up. Boy, it's messy though, Josh. Not the prettiest rally.
It is sloppy volleyball to start the night, that is for sure.
We'll consider it a warm-up because it's a long rally. Strickland picks it up, tries to clean it up. Crusher from the right. Lawless puts it away. Finally.
That was an exhausting rally, but I think this is going to be the tale of these teams tonight. And that's just great patience on the right side, really taking her time to see the court, swinging high, hitting heavy ball, and finding a hole in the court.
Chandler continues to serve. As the officials motion to turn down the music, it's time to serve. Outside off, a nice swing from Chrissy Jones.
Yeah, she hits a really heavy ball. Typically you're seeing Washington do a little bit of a faster set to the outside pins, but Jones is the kind of player who likes to hit a big heavy ball. She takes her time with that arm swing. See a lot more of that from her on the left and the right side tonight.
Courtney Schwann back to serve. A sophomore, spent a lot of the year behind Krista Van Zandt. A lot of her career behind Krista Van Zandt.
That's right. And Krista Van Zandt, of course, a huge graduating loss for Washington. A 4-time All-American, 2-time Pac-12 Player of the Year. She led the team in kills, 33% of the offense last season, which is remarkable for a single player.
Yeah, it says a lot about Schwann that she can come in and be so low error. But boy, that right side looking so good for the Bruins. That one was Jordan Anderson.
That is Jordan Anderson. Again, a transfer from West Virginia, the Big 12 Conference, has come in and just been a huge heavy arm for UCLA all season long.
Carly Drolson, senior from Del Mar, was a starting libero for this team in 2013. Took a lesser, air quotes, kind of role as a defensive specialist the last 2 years and has been huge. Like that, everything is going to come back up. Quick arm of Spelden.
She does have a quick arm, and she gets up really fast off the ground. Interestingly, that's a quick set, but it's a little bit of a higher quick set, so they're giving her time to hang in the air and see the court a little bit more. So UCLA is really going to have to adjust to that.
Cassie Strickland back to serve. Senior from Huntington Beach. Heavy serve always. Woo, block.
And that's going to be the key to this game. If Washington's block can get set up, as you can see here, great discipline. Jones on the outside, sets up the perfect block.
Strickland unloads. And the block the other way from Scambray.
That's right, 2 in a row. So UCLA is going to be setting a really fast offense to either pin. And it's worked well for them this season so far, but they're now facing a really large opponent in Washington, really big blockers across the net, pin to pin.
Well passed ball. They go back again, and Scambray shuts it down 2 times in a row.
They're putting on a bit of a blocking clinic very early in this game, so we'll have to see how UCLA adjusts. UCLA not running their middle as much as Washington does, so I would recommend that they start getting the middles involved so that they can keep the opposing middle blockers honest.
Yeah, and you want to get Cassie Strickland off the service line as well if you're the Bruins. And so Strickland unloads. That's what she does the best. Washington leading UCLA early by 5.
Every morning before the...
You're watching Pac-12 Los Angeles.
This Pac-12 Women's Volleyball Match of the Week is presented by Tashi Kara. We've got the ball. You bring the game. Another beautiful, epic day in Southern California. UCLA struggling early against Washington, particularly the serve of Cassie Strickland.
Absolutely. She is on a tear right now, so we'll see if the timeout cools her down a bit.
Well, if you're a football fan, you know icing the kicker. It's the same theory in volleyball. They're hoping that she's cooled off a little bit. Strickland, a pro though, who earlier this season had high errors in her serves, talked with first-year coach Keegan Cook about it, and has had great success since then. It worked. And there you get a look at Keegan Cook, his first season after 2 years as an assistant with Washington.
That's right, stepping into some really big shoes, but so far having a great start to the season.
Outside, Scambray up front. How about the block coming the other way? Handle it all, this right hand.
UCLA returning the favor. Again, I really like this matchup. Both teams they're big, they're very, very physical at the net, and I think we're going to see a lot of blocks in the stat column tonight.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It tells you how great the Pac-12 is as we see a service ace the other way that neither one of these teams are atop the blocking standings.
That's right, that's right. Washington, of course, making some noise nationally in the top 10, coming in at 9 in blocks per set. But UCLA capable and able to make some noise.
Drolson picks that up. Chandler back. Strickland makes it look easy on that one. Scambray, cross country. It's a tough set. It's quick out there.
It is. It's really hard to maintain a very fast-paced outside set when the setter is that far off of the net.
Michael Seeley, the head coach of UCLA in his 6th year. And he's not happy at all with that overpass.
No, and that was Washington actually taking advantage of the overpass this time versus that early point where they completely gave it up.
Michael Seeley won a national championship in his first year at the helm of this program and said, the next few years after that were really tough because you've got all the adjustments to make and all the expectations as well.
That's right. But so far this year, I think he's done a great job putting a really great team on the court. And again, he's trying to find that chemistry with the setting position. But so far tonight, it looks like Chandler's doing a nice job.
Rachel Inoue back to serve, senior from Hawaii, part of the defensive specialist corps that the Bruins are very proud of. From the middle, one blocker. Oh, messy. UCLA not communicating the way that they'd like to. And about the turn from Melanie Wade gives them the point.
That's right, a rare hitting error from Melanie Wade, who's hitting for the season well over 400. But to the point about UCLA, known for their ball control year in and year out, and have been putting on clinics this year so far.
Yeah, right now they're hitting negative numbers, UCLA is. Oh, crushed! Steven the block ripped open.
That's right. Great court vision on this one. You can see a nice fast-paced set to the outside. She beats the block, finds the seam in the middle, and just brings a lot of heat to that swing.
And what's a lot of fun is that's their setter, Bailey Tanner. Keegan Cook saying, hey, I want to let her have one rotation up there. Now you can see why.
That's right.
Service is wide.
Washington setters do have some size, so they're capable of playing all around as needed, even though they are setting that 6-2 offense.
Overpass the other way. Felix, nice pass. Anderson begging for it. It's retrieved.
Great effort over close to us. Great hustle by the Washington side, and that was an opportunity where Felix could have stepped back and taken a nice swing at that overpass, but she did use some good ball control for someone of her size.
Another service error as UCLA puts up their first of the day. Formico, Inoue, and Bushler back to pass for UCLA. Perfect pass. Man, it's just spot on.
That's right. Again, if UCLA can make that first contact great, it gives Chandler plenty of options in every single rotation. Heading in just a tip over the block, keeping the Washington defense honest.
Middle. Outside. Seaming the block. Earlier whistle. A net violation.
a lot of scrambling close to the net, so looks like it was 10 for Washington in the net.
Well, the 5-point lead that Washington had built earlier is gone, tied up at 12 apiece. And now the lead taken by Sebelden's attack out of the middle.
And she gets off the ground so quickly. And again, they're running a quick set, but it's a little bit higher than most teams are running. So UCLA is really going to have to adjust to that. And if possible, bring one of the pin blockers inside to help out on that.
As Tanner comes in to serve, Chrissy Jones comes in to hit. She's going to be matched up against Jordan Anderson. Beautiful crush from Frager.
And again, they want to try and get Frager more involved. She's averaging less than a kill per game. She's doing a great job on the defensive side, averaging 1.37 blocks per set. But trying to get her more involved in the offense will be to their advantage, especially against a more middle-dominant team in Washington.
Pass from Strickland is good. Jones puts up her left hand.
And a great execution on the UCLA side with that fast set to the outside. What both teams have to be careful of, though, is creating trap set situations. Fast sets often sometimes drift in close to the net, and it doesn't give the outside players the good looks that they need.
The passing has been very, very off the mark for these teams.
Both sides being quite erratic, and that was a smart play by Jordan Anderson.
I can't remember seeing that many overpasses in half a set, and I don't know how long in this league.
So Keegan Cook leading the team, undefeated this season. And you can see there, he's an offensive-minded coach. Leading the nation in hitting percentage at .361. Hitting percentage, of course, is taking the kills minus the errors over the total attempts, which is a combination of kills, the hitting errors, and the overall swings. And you can look, he's been at Washington for the last 4 seasons, and Washington is known for really strong hitting percentage. It's analogous to a baseball hitting percentage. So when you see a team hitting .250 and above, that's a really strong showing. .361 is absolutely outstanding. So
as a team, that means no weak links.
Absolutely, no weak links whatsoever.
Keegan Cook was a setter at Loyola Marymount, and he said, look, I wasn't that great a player. I always felt like my mind was ahead of my body. He's loving this position. I think he's being modest, by the way, but he's loving this position. But coming into this, and I know that you were an assistant for years at a couple of great schools, right. Texas and Northwestern. How important is it for this program that he moved from an assistant into a head coach and they didn't have to get used to a whole new coach?
You know, I think that shows they had great confidence in his abilities under the tutelage of Jim McLaughlin, one of the best coaches of all times who moved to Notre Dame for the start of this season. So I think that's a real testament to the job he's done as an assistant coach and the faith that the program has in keeping a lot of consistency. Washington has been fantastic year in, year out for about 12 to 13 seasons in a row. So they just wanted to keep the momentum going.
A 12-5 run by UCLA between timeouts. The middle got going for the Huskies.
Once again, it's about a quick and a half, and so what you're seeing Washington do is just beat the block every single time. The outside blockers for UCLA really need to pinch in and help out on that.
Again, the pass off the mark. What's going wrong with the passing, Josh?
You know, what I'm seeing here is the passers are swinging their arms a bit at the end, which is causing to just cross the plane of the net. And when you've got their setter coming from the back row, it gives her very limited options. In that case, she was called for being a back row attacker when she jumped and tried to save it.
Dig is up. Strickland clears the room. Well placed by Formico. And then again, it's just a little bit of a right turn from Frager.
That's right. As I said before, she's averaging less than a kill per set on the season, but so far she's had a couple of effective kills in this first opening set.
Yeah, 2 for 5. Carly Drolson back to serve again. Middle. Keep going to Sebelden. It's working for you. And then also effective has been Lawless on the right. Chrissy Jones had the one-on-one matchup, but I got away from her.
Yes, and as a setter, you've done your job when you give any hitter a one-on-one situation. That means that your hitter is going against one blocker, so she really needs to put those balls away when she's in those favorable situations.
It kind of makes you salivate as a hitter.
Oh,
in that
absolutely.
case.
And as a former setter, angry.
Free ball coming, and again, the miscommunication on UCLA's side. You can see it in every facet. Solo blocker this time. Chrissy Jones gives a swing. And a solo block from Jones.
Made up for the hitting error when she had the one-on-one with a solo block. And she's so big and physical. You can see her. Does the swing block, penetrates over the net, perfect alignment.
Cassie Strickland back to serve again. It was a high-scoring rotation last time around. A gift to UCLA in the form of a service error.
That's right. And you want a player like Cassie Strickland to take big rips at the ball. You know, she has just such a strong serve. She's going to make her errors, but if she gets on a hot serving run, they need to look out.
The middle working very effectively for Washington.
Washington really exploiting the middle. They're evenly matched up from a size perspective, but UCLA needs to make those adjustments because Washington is running a bit of a higher and a bit of a slower quick tempo ball.
Straight down the line, Bushler says, feed me, passes, and then rips the seam open.
That's right. A great swing from Bushler. Again, the trap set situation. They want to beat the middle blocker out to the pin on the UCLA side. But in that case, it was a little bit of a trap set. So what the setter needs to do is square her shoulders up a little bit more so that she can create a better look for that player.
Rachel Enoy rotates in back to serve as Jordan Anderson comes in as well. I mean, talk about the trap set. That's been a problem. And Chandler's right hand gets used. She's a diminutive setter.
That's right. And again, a little bit on the smaller side from an attacking perspective, but reaches high, reads the block well, and goes off of that right side blocker's right hand to get the tool.
So if you're keeping personal score for Bailey Tanner, she's done a great job on that left side with the one rotation that she gets.
That's right. She's taking full advantage of the swing that she gets.
3 kills on 3 swings for Tanner. Basically what she's saying is, hey, coach, why don't we try 2 rotations up front?
That's right. She's negotiating subtly.
Well, she arrived on campus 2 years ago as a setter slash outside hitter, and so she's been chomping at the bit to get back. There's a tight set, the block waiting for her. Well played by Schwann. From the backcourt. Change of pace from Schwann.
Again, we saw that early on, and she read the defense really well. But a great defensive effort to really make that play happen in the first place.
Outside, 2 blockers. And again, same spot.
2 in a row off speed. She's really catching UCLA on their heels defensively.
Yeah, and they're off speed, and they're also to the same region.
That's right. So UCLA has got a few adjustments to make. One, defensively, they're getting killed on the roll shot, and again on that middle hit on the Washington side.
Let's take a look around the Pac-12. Some of the news and notes through this conference that's had 5 teams in the top 11, 4 teams in the top 10. That's the most of any conference. And then you and I are going to have a good time going to USC on Sunday as they're undefeated right now as well.
That's right. USC is probably the hottest team in the country. They started out the season ranked pretty low, coming off of a pretty disappointing season in 2014, but already are just doing amazing things and having some really impressive wins. But again, as they're getting into the Pac-12 season, it's not coming easy. They went to 5 with Stanford, and with Washington coming in, and certainly depending on the outcome of tonight, that could be another match that goes the distance.
Yeah, and with Penn State losing, UCLA, if they keep winning, they'll be number 1 in the poll. Meanwhile, Wednesday, more great or Sunday, it's more great volleyball to match. Both women's volleyball teams have circled on their calendar. Pac-12 All-Star Samantha Bricio and the second-ranked USC Trojans play host to powerhouse fifth-ranked Washington. Two undefeated teams playing over there at the Galen Center. If USC wins that, they will be number one in the poll. Coverage Sunday at 1 on Pac-12 Network, or watch on Pac-12 Now and pac-12.com. Outside. Bushler saying, hey, I got that down. Ref didn't see it that way. Chandler sends it back to Bushler. This time, tries to go for the corner.
That's right, a great defensive effort on the Washington side. She was going for the right shot. She just went a little bit too far. Fantastic defense. Looks like that was a pancake.
Right behind the setter. Well defended again, and it's UCLA's or Washington's defense that keeping things ahead for them. Bushler, handled by Strickland. Schwann didn't get her whole hand on that one. But she got all of it there. No touch on the block though, Bruin ball.
No touch called. Looked like there might have been a few fingertips on that one from my vantage point. I don't know, it looked pretty clean through the seam there.
Off of Felix.
As I mentioned before, both sides have great size with the middle blockers, and you can see here Felix rushes to close the block and really penetrates that left hand over the net, and that was the difference in shutting down that attack.
Let's take a look overall at the dominance of the Pac-12 in terms of the NCAA and past championships. Well, Penn State, we know if you got a short memory,
yes,
you're thinking Penn State. You go back a little bit further, Washington, Stanford, and of course UCLA. That Michael Sealy coach team in his first season really turned it on in November that year.
They did. They were absolutely not the expected ones to go the distance when it came to the NCAA tournament, and they put on a real clinic as they ran through the NCAAs. But again, it's always a battle between the Big Ten and the Pac-12 year over year. Penn State, of course, the dominant player in the Big Ten. But this year, it looks like it could be anyone's to win. And the Pac-12 is certainly making a lot of noise early. We've got a long way to go.
Yeah, 3 undefeated teams remaining in the Pac-12. And, of course, Kansas undefeated as well nationally because Penn State fell to Nebraska earlier.
That's right. Penn State fell earlier today to Nebraska, as we said in the opening. And again, Penn State was the team to beat. Who was going to knock them off of that crown? They've been so dominant, really, since the beginning of NCAA volleyball, but in particular the last 10 seasons or so.
What an incredible opening salvo for USC, by the way. They started the season ranked preseason number 22. If they win Sunday, they'll be number 1 in a very short time span.
That's right, and we'll talk more about the changes that Coach Mick Haley made that have really been working to their advantage this season.
That's right, that match on Pac-12 Networks at 1 o'clock on Sunday against this Husky team. Huskies just trying to keep it in play for that moment, and oh no, down on the floor is Courtney Schwann. Her team goes to make sure she's okay, but Schwann crawled during that rally.
Looks like she came down a little bit funny on the landing on that.
Well, Courtney Schwann, sophomore out of Washington, the kill leader for this team, being helped off.
That's right. This is a big hole for them to fill. Hopefully it's just a temporary injury for her.
Yeah, the highest hitting percentage in the nation, and it looks like when she made a move after she landed that left leg, gave her trouble.
Substitution for the Huskies into match number 18, Destiny July.
Off-speed shot and just tweaked herself on the landing. So getting looked after by the trainer right now.
So up front, joining is Destiny July. Destiny July is a freshman, number 18 in the black jersey. She out of Central California. She has a big arm. She can go in for relief, but she hasn't had a ton of playing time. Little ball, touched. It is not up.
And Strickland was not happy with that call, but it looks like it did hit the wood before it hit her hand. She was going for the pancake save. And Strickland, you'll see a lot of acrobatics with her defensive play. She puts on quite a show from the back row.
Yeah, this is just the 14th set for Destiny July. She's going to get her first swing here. And second one's going to be tight against a huge block. She makes the most of it. July going to come back out. Third swing and a snap. Jordan Anderson begs for a touch. No go. Washington ball. How about Destiny July taking her first swings in this match?
Her first one was a little bit tentative. She started tipping the ball, but then really showed that she has a heavy arm too with that last rip. Unfortunately, it got dug, but she has the capability. She's got a heavy arm.
Yeah, and she's going up on some junk sets, if you will, and broken plays there. She's got Claire Felix, 6'6", in front of her.
That's right. That's right. It's the adjustment that a freshman has to make to Pac-12 volleyball. So again, as I mentioned, their pre-conference schedule a little bit light, in my opinion. Now they're getting into the big leagues, and so it's going to be a real test for her tonight, stepping in, filling some big shoes, hopefully temporarily, but showing some confidence with that rip at the end.
So Kim Condi in to serve, a senior out of Moraga. First action we've seen from her today. And how about the block? It's Destiny July, the freshman who just came in relief with a solo block.
And that'll give her a shot in the arm to be able to really shut down the larger UCLA players.
I like that she's not going to allow a smile. She's like, yeah, I do that every day.
All business all the time.
I do it every day. Here's set point for Washington. Outside, Anderson unloads.
It's a great cross-court swing by her. She gets up so quick and so high, especially with that fast outside set when it's in that perfect zone. But on the Washington middle blocker side, reached over too far with that left hand and gave her plenty of range for a cross-court kill.
Taylor Formico serving tied up at 24 apiece. And Sebeldon trying to say no more. The defense, the Littles from UCLA, not having it. And it's still good.
Amazing effort.
3 times to Sebeldon.
Sebeldon is putting on a little bit of a clinic tonight, and they are going to her a lot because, again, they're putting her in positions where she's one-on-one. That last one, a little controversial. I think the UCLA side thought that was a bit of a slam dunk that should have been called, but the upper ref thought it was okay.
Set point, Huskies. That's a nice set. Going back the other way.
That was a great set and a great decision from 10 feet off the net to go back. Just a little bit long.
Tied up at 25 apiece. Michael Seeley telling us in calls earlier this week, our defense is ridiculous. And you saw it on that big dig just recently. Is the defense going to make the difference at the end of the set?
I think so, but to be fair, Washington is displaying some pretty great defense so far, and they've got, again, a real superstar in Cassie Strickland.
Nice pause pulled out from Frager. Broken play still works.
Lots of broken plays, lots of sloppy plays, but both sides hustling really hard. Again, Cassie Strickland, the heart and soul of this team. She's a senior. She will throw her body into any situation to make the big plays defensively.
Chandler back to serve for set point. Strickland, reliable. Tanner goes to Sebelden. July swing is picked up. Scambray was behind the line from her attack. Love Strickland's control. It keeps coming out.
That UCLA defense is just giving the Washington side fits, but on that one, a very, very savvy play. And look at this play. I mean, for all intents and purposes, that ball should have gone to the ground, but UCLA is being so tenacious right now in their defense. They're picking up so much stuff.
That was one of the things that we talked to Keegan Cook about earlier this week was, how do you think that Scambray, Schwann, other players are going to handle it when balls that have always ended the rally pop back up?
That's right, and welcome to Pac-12 volleyball, where the defense is at another level.
Justice McGraw, redshirt junior, into serve, a serving specialist. Little ball's up, it's pancake perfectly. Scambray changes her pace. And wow, a replay call that I'm not sure why.
I think they're calling it because of the music that started to play.
I think you're right.
Yeah, they're trying to turn this into a little bit of a dance party too soon.
What happened there was the music was played when the Justice McGraw slid that pancake in.
That's right.
The official said it kept going.
That's right.
Oh, that's painful. That was a really hard working hit. Ball is up, and you're right, that defense of Washington has been sick. Turned by Frager.
Fantastic defense on both sides against Strickland, putting it all out there. And again, starting to see UCLA run the middle more, which is exactly what they need to do to be able to make some strides in this match. Their middles have been quiet all season. Now they're starting to get them more involved, which is really great to see.
Student section on their feet at Pauley Pavilion as Carly Drolson is serving. Set point, Bruins. Well passed by McGraw. Leanna Sebelden, perfect so far today.
Again, it all starts with a great pass, and it's enabling Washington to run the middle on almost every serve-receive play. And once again, Sebelden is the heavy hitter. She's got 5 kills. She's hitting .385 so far. They've got 6 kills at .429.
Even better. Strickland goes right at Drolson. Boy, Frager looks good.
Again, Frager, the player who's been averaging less than a kill per set coming into this match, has been putting up some great numbers. She's got 4 kills on 8 swings, hitting .500.
And again, that pass started, or that play started by Drolson's perfect pass, that veteran leadership. Oh boy, terrible time for a miscommunication for Washington. Chrissy Jones says, not here.
Not here. Aggressive at the net, reached over. Get a replay of that. Again, a little bit of a tight trap set, and when you've got the block of Jones, you have to be a little bit sharper than that on the outside.
You know, we usually like to play these sets to 25 points, but since we've got time, apparently we're going to go extra points all day. Scambray.
And great effort. UCLA just getting a hand now on every ball, really showing why they are one of the top defensive teams in the league.
Service error there, and things will be tied up again at 29.
I said in the open I thought it was going to be a match of parity, but I didn't think it was going to be this even. 29-29.
And this is the opening set. We've seen extra points all week long. Stanford and Arizona extra points went to 5 sets. Stanford and USC extra points as well. Justice McGraw doing a great job since she's come in for Washington. The block of Washington so solid, but here's Bushler. Oh, the block.
And that's where Washington's size really puts them at an advantage. And the left side hitters on UCLA are really going to have to work to get those kills. I was going to say before that,
that termination play on the block side that both teams are doing a really nice job of covering their attackers. They swing into the block and then they're able to make second plays. Great ball control on both sides.
Excuse me, Washington averages just under 3 blocks per set. They've got 7 so far in one set.
That's right.
Outrageous. Outside to Bushler. Strickland digs it. In trouble. Off 1 foot. How about a solo block from Riley Bushler? The freshman, he didn't play high off hands. Destiny July says, really? Me? All right. Love the tempo from Cassie Strickland's pass. Destiny July does the work.
And there's the freshman ending another one of these classically long rallies in this particular match.
What a win for Washington in their first set, and the freshman Destiny July does it as a sub.
This Pac-12 volleyball production.
Welcome back to Pac-12 Volleyball, presented by Tashi Kara. If you're just joining us, where have you been? Extra points in the first set. Washington and UCLA in a top 15 matchup win extra points. Anne-Marie Anderson alongside Josh Grau. In that first set, what do you think ultimately was the difference?
I think the defense on both sides was tremendous, and it was the tenacity of both teams that really made these rallies go seemingly endlessly. But at the end, it was just the heavy hitting of Washington that really got the best of UCLA at the end. But again, said in the beginning, it's a really even matchup, and I think that every set is probably going to go the distance.
Meanwhile, some heartbreak for Washington during that set. So sad to see Courtney Schwann leave the court with an injury.
That's right, yeah. She looks like it might be an ankle. We're not really sure what it is, but she's been the team leader in kills all season long. A really complete player, playing all rotations. And she just was hitting a little bit of an off-speed shot and kind of went down a little bit funny. So we'll see if she comes back later in the match, but they have her on crutches so far. So
yeah, and so for Schwann to leave in crutches, leaves knowing that she spent all those years waiting to get on the floor. But Destiny July came in, the freshman did a great job.
That's right. If you can count on a freshman to come in and not be tentative and start taking big swings, Washington's going to be okay, and they pulled out the victory in that first set.
Meanwhile, when you look at these numbers, Josh, what stands out to you?
Well, I think they're pretty evenly matched, but the thing that is really standing out is Washington's dominance on the block side. They have 17 blocks in that first set. Again, they're in the top 10 nationally. This is well above their average of just under 3. So if we keep going the distance in every single set, they're going to put us some really impressive block numbers for this entire match.
And the number that stands out to me, 63 combined digs. We're only talking about one set.
One set, that's right. And it's the aggressive defensive plays on both sides. You're seeing amazing things from both liberos and the supporting cast.
Incredible. Taylor Formico, the libero for UCLA, 8 digs in one set. And Cassie Strickland of Washington, you can't really say enough about her. We, of course, saw her as an outside hitter earlier in her career. She made the move to libero. And Keaton Cook saying he had to talk her back into libero again this year because she was kind of hoping to get back on the outside.
Right. That's right. But she's really shown to be the heart and soul of this team, and she's making up for that swinging with that rip of a jump serve of hers.
She's a lot of fun to watch no matter what position she's in. Set 1 to begin. Outside. Anderson's first swing is wide.
Anderson's first swing is wide. She's been a little hot and cold so far in this match.
And taking a look at the hitting percentages, the numbers much higher usually tonight, low numbers because of those blocking and digging numbers we've seen.
That's right. Both teams are below their average, but again, Washington leading the nation with 361, which is outstanding.
The block, though, well, let's just keep the tally because now it's at 8 for Washington.
Right. I think we're going to be saying block Washington quite a lot tonight.
It's incredible to have that many blocks that early. Sebeldon and Wade have done such a consistent job for the Huskies. Enoy passes. Anderson puts it down in front of Sebeldon.
That time she got to sneak it through the block and it dribbled down on the side of Washington through the net. But again, she's going up against two very physical players. So that's why UCLA is running this faster tempo offense to try and get her better looks.
Outside, off the block. Formico, an excellent setter as well. And to the middle, it works for Jenny Frager.
And it looks like Frager's trying to have a career night on the hitting side. Again, averaging less than a kill per game heading into the season and putting up some really strong numbers so far.
Jenny Frager, a true middle according to Michael Seeley. Scambray block, and Sabelton just saying, this is my net.
Yeah, she took advantage of that. It was an easy overpass, and she threw it straight down. Again, not a bad block on the UCLA side. Sometimes you get these reactive plays that just don't go your favor.
Tia Scambray saying no, as she wins the joust.
That's right. Typically, smaller setters will actually win the joust against the bigger header. But on this side, the physicality of Washington just won over that play.
Yeah, and Chandler went up with just one hand on that joust too.
Right.
Scambray saying, at least bring me the respect of your second hand.
That's right. That's right. Try a little harder.
Right, but really Chandler was just trying to save the ball at that moment, so it wasn't necessarily a true joust. Anderson going for the line. It's one of the things she does really well, by the way. She sees the whole court. Block waiting for her and traveled up her arm. It'll be called a lift.
Yeah, it was a lift call on Frager. She attacked the ball and went to cover her own attack, but it just sort of dribbled up her arm. So,
nevertheless, we appreciate covering your own attack.
And both sides have been doing a great job of that. They've been swinging and playing really well, covering themselves.
Oh, Strickland. Ace.
We talked about Strickland coming into this set, how she was an outside hitter, moved to libero, back to outside, now in her senior season, a libero, and again, brings a heavy, heavy arm back on the service line.
Yeah, that conversation was that she wanted to go back outside, but with Schwann there, Keegan Cook said, look, you can offer us more as a libero, and she's been a champion. The touch is there, ball for UCLA.
And that's a great swing by Jordan Anderson. You can see it's still a fast tempo set. It's in the perfect zone, and she really reaches high and goes for high hands. Again, knowing she's up against a much bigger block. Nice adjustment by her.
Down the line, again, overpass. We talked about how the first set was marred. Overpass, return with an overpass.
That's right, yeah. That was an opportunity for UCLA to just get aggressive and hit that overpass again. We'll see it again here. Just a little bit of a blunder when it came to the ball control.
It was a double overpass. I don't know that I've seen that.
Double, yes. A twofer.
Wow.
She made up for her mistake with a great swing.
That was such a tiny window to hit.
It was, and the difference is that UCLA is running a true quick set. Their middles are going fast, it's coming fast out of the setter's hand, and you're seeing the Washington middles hitting a little bit of a slower tempo, higher quick set.
Maybe a half an inch on either side of that ball as the doors were closing.
That's right.
Maybe. Ball's up.
But once again, you see the great effort of UCLA. They're not letting balls just hit the floor. They're trying to get a hand on it any which way they can.
8-4 lead Washington in the second set. First set won by Washington in extra points. There's Keegan Cook. Had a good time. Former assistant for Washington. First season as head coach. Outside. Well placed.
Again, nice high swing off the hands. It might have even gone off on the forehead, potentially. You see that kind of trajectory. There might be a noggin involved in that.
I think it could be a Tylenol moment. Carly DeHogue, meanwhile, the attacker on that ball. Scambray. A lot of tipping happening. Touch.
Just got the pinky finger of the UCLA block. Do you see it? Nice swing down the line and just picked up a little bit of that outside pinky finger. But it's enough.
Oh boy. Straight down where all the defenders were. But look at the tip, tip again. I want somebody to smack the ball like that.
Enter the freshman to take the big swing. Yeah, there's a lot of tentative plays on both sides. They're doing a lot of tipping. In some cases, it's the right play when there's a bit of a trap set. But in this case, it's the freshman coming in and taking a nice big rip, splitting the block.
Washington, a 7-point lead in set number 2. Michael Sealy going to take some time, talk it over with his team.
Sunday, 15th LA Bruins. You're watching Pac-12 Los Angeles.
Welcome back to Pac-12 Volleyball presented by Tashi Kara. Top 15 matchup, another great one. First set, when extra points were in second set. And Josh, Washington out to a quick start. To what do you attribute the lead?
They are. They're just displaying a little bit more of an aggressive stance behind the service line, and I think they're taking UCLA out of their game a little bit.
Love the way that Formico comes in, puts up a beautifully hittable ball. Uh-oh, Destiny July starting to lose her mind. Great attacks from her. But the block, Frager waiting for her.
That's right, and I think that's Frager's first block of the match, which is unusual because she's actually the blocking leader for the team and the one who's not producing the offensive numbers. She's more of a defensive player, but in this match, she's been more offensive.
Yeah, and you mentioned she might be going for a career high. She's pretty close. Season high is 7. She's got 6 in terms of kills. Twice in a row.
Twice in a row for the freshman. It's going to be really interesting to see how she will respond to this. I like that she's taking big aggressive swings, but the UCLA block is starting to get a little bit of momentum. Lots of size out there.
Middle. Coming around, it seemed like a good theory, but flat attack.
An unusual hitting error. She's typically hitting for high percentages.
So Frager is in and serving. And as long as she keeps serving like that, Taylor Formico is going to wait her turn, the libero, to come back in. Timeout taken by Washington. Just a cool off Frager serving. UCLA missing, of course, one of their key hitter last year in Carstelo.
That's right. Carstelo was the bulk of their offensive output. She was responsible for 38% of the team's total kills. That's remarkable for a single player.
And for Carstelo, we asked her the difference between being last year in college and then this year internationally.
I wouldn't say I'm surprised at where I am now. I wouldn't say that I knew I'd be here, but I also wanted to be here and knew that was the ultimate goal, and that's what I was working towards. So that I am here is more just kind of a testament to that I was able to do what I believed I could do.
Carstelo, really a remarkable player who really blossomed later in her career at UCLA and is making great noise on the national team side.
Well, UCLA, plenty of weapons on the outside. But of course, the offense, there's some advantages to not having the one go-to as well.
That's right. It's making UCLA a little bit more of a diverse team, which I think is working to their advantage so far this season. But what a heavy arm Carstelo had. She was fun to watch.
Block is slow, and you're going to pay for it with DeHogue.
Again, a great set. It's that fast tempo set that both sides are doing to the pin. beat the block, hit right down the seam for a kill.
Perfect pass. There's the tempo. Hard and then harder.
Wow. Straight down, and that was a case where UCLA's right side player was actually blocking middle in that instance. And you had Felix then blocking on the right side. So you have a 6'6" blocker on the outside pin and really just set up an amazing wall.
So in your experience coaching at Texas and Northwestern as an assistant, what do you say to the freshman Destiny July? 3 times in a row now she's hit into that block.
Well, you know, she's swinging hard, which is a great sign of confidence, but she's yet another block from UCLA. They're starting to go toe-to-toe with Washington, who is the one putting on the blocking clinic early on. But going back, and finally an adjustment for that slower tempo quick set in the middle.
So on one side, the block is so solid, they're leading that way. Carly DeHoog, meanwhile, getting the advantage of some holes in the block.
That's right. She's been the hot hitter the last few times, really finding the seam and putting it to the floor.
And so a moment to settle down as UCLA's blocking has been spot on. Offensively, though, they're trying to make something work. Ooh, grabbing that set. A little poke.
Amazing defense.
Even more amazing defense on that one. This time, July changes her pace and has the blockers bring it down with her. Sebeldon.
We've been calling her name a lot, but I have to say, on both sides of the net, that was an amazing defensive play. And Sebeldon, the second best offensive player in the country. She's hitting .497, second in the NCAA. Again, that's kills minus errors over total attempts. And heading this match, she only had 8 errors on the entire season, which is remarkable.
That's incredible numbers. And how about that block that Sebeldon adds on?
Again, she's not only putting up the offensive numbers, but she's really working hard on the defensive side. She was a little late getting there, worked hard to close, but reached over and penetrated. Did all the right things in the end.
And from behind the setter, it's going well for Claire Felix.
And Claire Felix hits the slide so well. She's long, she's lean. She hits a quick tempo ball out to the pin. Not seeing a lot of slides being run on either side, so they're getting Felix into the mix there. And again, UCLA running those middles, which is what they really need to do to stay competitive.
A bit of a slugfest for these two teams. Getting up a spot on the floor of moisture. So with Riley Bushler serving, you wonder, is she going to go with the freshman Destiny July? If she can get to her on the receive. She tries to and does. July delivers with a pass.
Yeah, it's that first ball contact. And again, the freshman, she might be getting a few hitting errors, but she's making up for it with her ball control. Sebeldon gets up so high and so quick off the ground. And again, it's that quick and a half that they're running that's giving UCLA just a big fit.
As July rotates out, Kim Condi comes in. Condi and July sharing the space occupied by Schwann in set 1 before she got injured. Scambray takes a swing. Chrissy Jones off the hands. A lot of off-tempo and tipping in this match because when you hit it, you get blocked.
That's right, that's right. Again, the big size of Washington coming to play to end that rally. And that was a little bit of a higher tempo set for Anderson. She likes those quick ones out to the antenna so she can see the court and beat the block. She had to wait on that one a little bit.
There's a slide that you were calling for earlier.
That's right. The middles are doing such a great job on the UCLA side. They're getting their good swings. They're running fast tempo sets, which is really beating the Washington block.
What does UCLA need to do now to try to close this gap? It's getting late in this second set.
I think they need to, well, make serves like that for sure. but really make sure their first contact is key, both on the ball control side when it's a broken play, but specifically on serve receive. We're seeing when they can run the middle, good things are happening.
Scambray says, feed me, but why not go back to Sebeldon? A net violation for UCLA trying to get to Sebeldon.
That's right. Reaching over a little bit too aggressively.
Cassie Strickland back to serve. Cue the music. She's had some aces tonight. Oh, the heat. And another ace for Strickland.
That was an absolute bullet by Strickland. She doesn't get the opportunity to swing from the front row as the libero. She can only play the back row position, but she's bringing the heat tonight.
2014 Pac-12 Libero of the Year has 3 aces on the night. Formico spot on. It says Anderson, get her off the service line.
Little chicken wing there.
Oh, Chrissy Jones.
Great reaction, a defensive reaction, a little bit of a chicken wing play to get that back on the UCLA side. And again, it was a higher tempo set, a little bit slower for Anderson. And the Washington side knew exactly where it was going.
Well, and we talked to you earlier about Karsta Lowe being a huge international success this year, and she is certainly, some call her the greatest player in the country for sure. MVP of this tournament.
That's right. She is just so big and physical and has such a heavy arm. You would think that her arm might be falling off by now with all the swings she took in college and now bringing it to the international level, but she's making a lot of noise very early in her international career.
MVP of the FIVB Grand Prix. We saw her here a few weeks ago watching her UCLA team in the rivalry matchup against USC. Meanwhile, back on the floor here at Pauley Pavilion, Washington doing everything right, really, and again, they're down their top hitter.
That's right. They are responding really well. They have a freshman in that spot, but the rest of the players are really stepping up, particularly defensively. And the nice thing about both teams is they have diversity. They don't have the single player who's carrying the bulk of the offense like they did last year on both sides with Krista Van Sant for Washington and Karsta Lowe for UCLA. And they have some deep benches, so it's working out.
For UCLA, back on the floor, the pain of losing that first set in extra points will be magnified should they drop this second set to Washington.
That was a bit of a buzzkill from a momentum perspective, but they're on their home court. They've got to find a way to use ball control, which is their strong suit, and get back into this match.
Overpass. Oh boy, Scambray. A little sticky. And how about that? Tying her season high. That kill from Frager.
She has such a quick arm. She's so long. She's so quick off the ground and is hitting that quick set so nicely this evening.
7 kills. Her season high was against Virginia, 7 at the end of August. A service error from UCLA, and once you get past 20 points, it's starting to get a sense of urgency.
This is a pretty big hole for them to climb out of. Stranger things have happened, but they've been so erroneous when it comes to the things that they can't control, like that first ball to serve.
Any ball that you might think would end a rally, not necessarily the case here. The defense has been outstanding from both of these teams. Scambray through the block.
The block was already out there, but Scambray was able to use that outside hand and really take advantage of a lack of discipline with that outside blocker for UCLA. That's Jordan Anderson, who was blocking on the right.
Big reach from Haley Lawless.
Haley Lawless, a little bit quiet this evening, but that was a nice play by her. Again, doing what Washington had just did on the previous play, using that outside blocker's hand to tour the block.
How about Jessica Namo coming in up front for UCLA? Let's see, Namo, she subbed in while Carly Jolson came in to serve. Namo's got Taylor Formico in her ear right now. Formico, kind of the floor general of this team, but this is just her third set played this season. Another kill as Washington continues to roll. And so at this point, Josh, while these teams are still thinking about second set, I'm going to ask you to look ahead to third set and say, what does UCLA need to change?
Again, they've been a bit erratic on their first contact on serve receive. So we've seen when they can run their middle attack, they're scoring points.
The attempt at the chicken wing did not work that time.
Yeah, the first chicken wing did, the second chicken wing did not.
Too many chicken wings is a bad thing anyway, right? Frager back to serve. Ball is down. Point, and now set point, Huskies.
Looked like it was a little bit of a miss hit, but went to the absolute perfect place, no man's land.
Set point, Huskies.
We'll give her credit and say it was intentional, but I think a little bit of a miss hit.
Sometimes we hit with a feather, it just depends. On a replay, as the officials weren't quite ready for that. I think the down official was not. And so it remains set point for Washington. Lawless and Namo. And a use of Lawless and Felix. And reading Lawless's lips, shoot.
Yes, shoot, she said. They were there, they were set up, but it was that outside blocker's hand.
Set 2 goes to Washington as UCLA goes into the break down 2. They have some big adjustments to make.
Reason to go west. Bank of the West.
Good evening and welcome into our San Francisco studios. I'm Katie Boggs and this is your Pac-12 Intermission Report. We're in the middle of a full night of women's volley here on Pac-12 Network, and a big top 10 matchup just wrapped up in the desert. Stanford visiting Arizona State, the Sun Devils debuting their pink Adidas uniforms. Sun Devils took the first set, but Cardinal here. Maddie Bugg sets to Haley Hodson for the kill, and they tie it up. Third set, ASU set point. Brielle Bailey gets a set, puts it away. 11 kills on the night for her. We'll go to the fourth. It's Macy Gardner, one of 22 kills on the night. ASU match point. Stanford had won 28 straight meetings between the programs, but Bailey said not tonight. ASU wins 3-1. And it's football all day tomorrow, but we're back to the pitch and back to the court on Sunday. UCLA and Washington State will start us off with a morning matchup. Then it's a top 10 showdown at Galen Center. Number 2 USC taking on number 5 Washington. Then grab some lunch, and you know what? Grab some dinner while you're at it. We've got a couple soccer matchups to wrap up the day. Third set action from Westwood is coming up, but we've got one more date together. The Pac-12 Sports Report Update is next. Date.
What a thrilling conference this is. Two of the teams that you saw that it's in the top 25 for Pac-12 battling it out, UCLA and Washington. Washington with a 2-0 lead already. Hi, everybody. I'm Anne-Marie Anderson alongside Josh Grau. Josh, the first one tight, second one all Washington's way. What do you think has been the difference?
I think in the second set you saw the size and physicality of Washington really stepping it up. They've been blocking well all night. They continue to do so, and they served, I think, more aggressively, and they took UCLA out of their game. When UCLA can run that middle offense, they're making some big plays and making a lot of noise.
Did you say middle and size?
Yes.
Well, that's Liana Sabeldin.
That's right. That's right. Liana Sabeldin is having a bit of a clinic out of the middle tonight. She has 10 kills. She's hitting .450, which is outstanding. Again, a middle blocker should be hitting above 300. She's hitting in the .450 range, and she's got 3 blocks too. So not only is she bringing the offensive numbers, but she's also doing it well on the defensive side as well.
She's also bringing the leadership as well as one of the seniors. And you take a look at the numbers. How about those blocking numbers?
That's right. UCLA started to creep up a little bit there in the second set. But again, it's a pretty dominant blocking performance by Washington.
And of course, that affects the hitting percentage for UCLA, which is uncharacteristically low.
That's right. Again, Washington well below their nation-leading average, but UCLA definitely struggling behind the big wall of Washington tonight.
Washington undefeated, one of 4 remaining undefeateds in the nation. Penn State lost earlier today. Their reward, if they're able to beat UCLA, was that they'll have to play USC, another undefeated, on Sunday.
That's right.
They came charging out of the gate this year, Washington, and last year was no different.
That's right. Washington is always off to fast starts, it seems. They've got really impressive runs leading into the conference. They're always a contender for the Pac-12 title, and you're always hearing their name in national championship speak, and it's no different this year.
What's really surprising, though, is that there's a big difference for Washington in terms of their head coach. Gone is Jim McLaughlin. Now there is Keegan Cook at the helm.
Jim McLaughlin, of course, went back to Notre Dame from the Midwest, so sort of getting back to his home roots.
I think his wife played soccer at Notre Dame.
I think so, yes. And there she is again, mentioned it before when we talked about her, but 10 kills, hitting .450, which is just incredibly impressive.
I'll take that, yeah.
Also has 3 blocks as well. So doing her job, maintaining the UCLA offense and slowing it down. Not only is she getting stuff blocks, but she's also getting a lot of great touches so that the Washington defense can really step up and give Washington more offensive looks.
Set 3 underway. Jenny Frager serving. Takes Washington immediately out of system. Drolson digs it. Outside. Bushler. No, ma'am.
That's a great aggressive swing by Bushler, just a little bit outside, but their outsides need to continue to step up. They've been an outside sort of led team all season, and now their outsides are being a little bit quiet tonight.
We'd love to hear what you think about Cassidy Strickland in this incredible match. Tweet us, hashtag Pac12VB.
And again, Cassie Strickland just putting on a clinic behind the service line tonight.
She's been doing that her entire career as it gets better and better. 4 service aces for Strickland today. And Claire Felix says, not here.
It was a tight pass to the net, but a really great set by Chandler, opening up a great look for Felix, the middle blocker. And like I said many times tonight, when UCLA can run that middle, great things are happening.
Rachel Enoy serving for UCLA. Played on the sand with Carly Drolson on the beach team. 2 littles. Anderson tries to find some space. Scambray puts it away.
She had a great cross-court look. Felix, again, needs to drop that left hand inside. She's reaching over a little bit too far, giving her a little bit too much cross-court range. And with a heavy arm like that, it's going to be a kill.
Katie Beals serving for Washington. That ball in. The antenna flapping back and forth had to happen after the play. Oh yeah, it was a blocker.
Again, Felix is so strong on that slide play. They run a really quick, fast slide to the antenna. She's been successful just about every single time. did. It just dribbled right over, but prior to that, a great play. Sometimes the net is your best friend. In that case, it worked for her.
Pass is great from Enoy, the dig. Block waiting for it. Unbelievable. Washington continues to roll in the blocking.
You said it before. We're gonna say block Washington quite a bit tonight. There's another one for them.
12 blocks for Washington at this point. This is an important beginning for Washington because it's an incredibly tough stretch of ranked teams. After UCLA, it's USC, and then they have Arizona and Arizona State, all top 25 teams.
It doesn't get easier. It doesn't get easier in the Pac-12. You can't take a night off.
And there's the freshman, Destiny July.
She got back a bit of that mojo she had when she came in the first set. Struggled a bit in set 2. But a nice arm swing and heavy ball from the freshman.
Overpass. Beal's back. Chandler's only option is Anderson, and the block knows it.
The block was there once again. Anderson looks like she's getting a little bit tired. And again, she's adjusting from Big 12 volleyball, highly competitive, but the change from Big 12 last year at West Virginia to UCLA, it's just a whole different ballgame.
We talked about Anderson's swings. We talked about Karsta Lowe, and Anderson taking 1,000 swings twice in a row. Meanwhile, Destiny July in because Courtney Schwann on the bench. She got injured in that first set. Schwann led this team in hitting, and she's the only outside hitter in the top 50 in hitting percentage in the nation. She's had to spend this match on the bench.
And for an outside to hit 415 is truly remarkable.
Certainly we hope her injury is temporary. July doing what she can.
Finally a good look for Jordan Anderson after getting shut down a few times by the big, imposing Washington block.
What a dig. That's a perfect example of UCLA's defense that'll pop back up. Bushler that time.
A little bit of a knuckleball coming from Anderson, but highly effective. Got the kill.
Little spread out. Didn't fool Frager one bit. Off hands, and it's a point for Anderson and UCLA.
And just as Anderson looked like she was slowing down, she's heating back up again. A little surprised, though, that they're not running more of the slide play against a smaller blocker in July on the Washington side. But when Anderson heats up, you keep feeding her.
Just a free ball over to Washington, and that's what they're going to do with a free ball. Here's another chance for Washington to put it away. July!
And the freshman came through again, playing with a lot more confidence in this third set. She was looking a little bit tentative in set 2, despite the fact that Washington had such an advantage. But give credit to the set there. Really held the middle blocker and gave her a great look through the seam.
Really exciting for Destiny July and for Pac-12 to be able to see the freshman play. Prior to this match, she'd only played in 13 sets this season. Ball is long.
Yeah, that early experience in the pre-conference definitely isn't helping her tonight, but she's finding her own, and she's doing a nice job.
She's back in serve receive. We'll see if Chandler goes at her. They served her in the first set. They go at Scambray.
Looks like the second time that Frager was called for a lift when trying to play a ball off of the block. A little bit of a lift. Fair call.
Michael Seeley frustrated with that. Doing what coaches do.
That's right.
Argue the point, defend your player.
You create a little noise. That's what coaches do best.
Middle, such a connection with Frager, and with that attack, she ties her career-high 8 kills.
A fantastic match for her tonight. It was a pretty tight set, giving UCLA just one real option, but she took advantage of it. She's so quick off the ground, and it's that true quick set. On the Washington side, it's a little bit of a slower pace.
She always hits 533, doesn't she? No. That's all right. She's going to have a short memory. She's got a great middle. Meanwhile, Sebeldon coming back.
Yeah, Sebeldon has really been the hot player tonight. This could be the first match in which she's leading them solely in kills.
Kim Condi again coming back to serve. Condi and July doing their very best to make up for what we hope is a temporary loss of Courtney Schwann. And that's good news for Keegan Cook, too, that he's got some depth.
Absolutely. Depth is the name of the game, especially in a tough conference like this. As I said in the open, we're still very young in the Pac-12 season. There's a lot of matches to go, so having that diversity and that depth on the bench will go a long way for both sides.
Another ace for Washington. This one from Kim Condi.
Condi with that tough jump float. And this is what happened in that second game. Washington really serving aggressively, taking UCLA out of system.
5 service aces for Washington. Perfect pass. And that's a perfect example, right? Block and then an error.
That's right. And going back to the same hitter shows a sign of confidence between the setter and the hitter. But in that case, the swing was just a little bit too wide on the outside, causing the error.
And also, the block hadn't really moved away from it yet. So while you can appreciate the confidence, you might want to make that middle block or take a trip.
That's true.
Tough choice to make. Scambray off the hand, a beautiful block from Frager.
I think I said previously that Frager was not dropping that left hand over the net to really truly seal that block. She made up for it this time. And you can see a perfect block.
Yeah, with that net cam, you really get the idea of what you're talking about. And that left hand, not going to allow anything extra. Out of system here. Scambray has the block waiting for her. Goes high off hands. And the quick ball shut down.
It's a great effort to try and save that. Just went a little astray off the arms.
And Bushler goes out. Namo comes in. Cassie Strickland, meanwhile, just devastated from the service line. 4 aces. Chrissy Jones, but credit Melanie Wade patrolling the net.
Absolutely controlling the net on that play. A little bit of an unlucky play for UCLA, but again, that front row dominance of Washington really started to give them a bit of an edge here in the middle of the third set.
Strickland going for it there, as she should. That one's an error.
Great serve on the previous play. That one, the toss was a little bit off. And went into the bottom of the net, but with her aces and her dig, she's putting on an MVP performance right now.
She certainly is. Strickland, with those 4 service aces, has a new season high. Little ball, Strickland trying to call people off. It's congested. Everybody wants a piece of the action. Tanner back to Scambray. Anderson, they're saying it was no touch, and the official agrees. It never went over. And so Washington again building their lead. In the 4th set, they are ahead by 4.
Home of the UCLA Bruins.
This Pac-12 Women's Volleyball Match of the Week is presented by Tashi Kara. We've got the ball. You bring the game. What a great night in Los Angeles, especially if you happen to be a Husky fan. A top 15 matchup. Washington in the third set with a 4-point lead. And boy, we love our volleyball here on Pac-12 networks. Tons of matches, and with 5 teams in the top 11 in the nation, it's really something.
It's an exciting time early in the Pac-12 conference. It'll be interesting to see who starts to win the foot race as we near towards the midpoint and the end of the conference. But so far, Washington is looking fantastic.
If Washington does win this match, their reward facing USC, also undefeated.
No rest for the
Sunday.
weary.
So how about that? 2 undefeated teams. Obviously, they'll play USC either way, but I'm saying they get no reward for this effort. And you know, it'll be really interesting to see if Courtney Schwann is out, or if she's able to recover in the one day between and face a USC team that if they were to win that match, they'd be number 1 in the nation.
That's right. That's right.
Join us on Pac-12 Networks at 1 o'clock Sunday for that matchup. Meanwhile, in this one, UCLA, plenty of fight. They've been playing great, Josh.
They have been, and it's been a fantastic defensive effort on both sides.
Low ball. Look at that great set and connection, but again, slowed down, and then Wade puts it away.
Wade's been relatively quiet tonight on the offensive numbers, but now she's starting to come alive a bit here. The middle blocker for UCLA drifted to the left and gave Wade such a great cross-court look for an easy kill.
$120 digs between these two teams thus far. 15 blocks for Washington. No wonder the hitting numbers aren't that spectacular.
Very true. In that particular play, Cassie Strickland often will play in the middle back position, and she'll cheat in a bit, and it's worked to her advantage. But sometimes when you get those high touches off of the swing, it traps her in a little bit, and that's exactly what happened. That was probably an easy ball to play, but she was inside a bit too far.
UCLA continues to serve the freshman. She passes well enough. The change of pace, another point for Washington.
We've seen a lot of tipping. We haven't seen a lot of the off-speed shots so far in this match. Good enough for the kill that time.
Another ace for the Huskies.
And that was a bullet of a jump float by Wade. You can see it just barely passes the plane in the net and just flies off of the arms of Anderson.
Perfect pass from Namo. Nice snap. Oh, off the net into the face.
Into the face, but credit middle blocker Melanie Wade with a fantastic defensive play to scoop that up off of the block.
Washington, a 6-point lead. Michael Seeley going to take a moment and talk with his team. What does he need to say to him?
I think he's probably trying just to calm them down a little bit and have them play UCLA volleyball. When they control that first play, when they can have a good first serve-receive contact and run the middle, good things are happening. But right now, Washington is not only showing a great defensive scheme at the net, but their back row play is great. And you just saw 6'5" Melanie Wade run up and get a ball that most liberos might see hit the floor. So everyone is stepping up when it comes to the complete defensive game for Washington right now.
Certainly Washington needs that. When you take a look at the undefeated teams in the nation earlier today, big news across the country for volleyball fans. Penn State lost to 4th-ranked Nebraska. So there are 4 undefeated teams remaining, 3 of them in the Pac-12. And how about that? 2 of them set on a collision course to meet Sunday here on Pac-12 networks.
If Washington can pull out tonight, it'll be a battle of 2 undefeateds, and pressure is on for USC to try and claim that #1 spot, because for sure Penn State is going to drop at least a couple of notches after a
Sunday
tough loss
match. Both of these women's volleyball teams have circled on their calendar. Samantha Bricio and this all-star USC team facing a Washington team who has shown incredible guts tonight without their leader, Courtney Schwann. Sunday, 1 p.m. Please join us.
Absolutely. I think that it's going to be really fun to see Bricio go up against the size of this Washington block. She's leading the nation in kills and points, but I don't know if she's seen blocks this big so far, at least not in the pre-conference.
She loves blocks this big. I know enough about her to know she loves a challenge, and we'll see how that faces. I think the most impressive thing to me is that Washington has been able to do this without the services of Courtney Schwann.
And credit the freshman July, who's come in and really played the role she's supposed to play. She's providing good ball control when she has to step in. She's taking big, aggressive swings.
And they're trying to serve her. I wouldn't be surprised if this ball goes down to her. And they go at her. And look at that pass. On the money. Sebeldon rewards her with a kill.
And Sebeldon, of course, has been the player we've been talking about all night long. Putting up great numbers. That is her 11th kill. Hitting .455 again. Just fantastic numbers for the middle blocker.
And 5 blocks, too.
And 5 blocks.
It just makes you giggle because she's so solid.
Not too shabby.
Outside, Chrissy Jones. She stutter steps to delay it, and it works.
She started to rush in, expecting a bit of a faster tempo set to the outside, but made a nice adjustment, stopped and waited, and was able to see the block and tool that outside blocker hand on the UCLA side.
Well, and you had made that observation earlier. She doesn't get the quick ball that other people do, but that was higher than her normal high.
Higher than her normal high, yes.
Sebeldon, we mentioned the blocking. I think we did.
I said that Cassie Strickland might get my MVP vote. I think I'm going to give a co-MVP if they pull it out to Sebeldon. She got up so high on that. Her arms were just fully over the net on that.
UCLA out of system at the moment. And a little stutter, and in front of Washington lays just 2 points before they can sweep, they hope, UCLA. And it's the beginning of an incredibly tough 4-match trip, or 4-match stretch for Washington. 2 on the road against the Southern California teams, and then 2 against the Arizonas at home.
And it's a case of too little too late with UCLA. They got a perfect pass that time, ran the middle. Good things happen when they can control that first contact, but Washington's serve has just been too tough all night. Really breaking down a typically very solid UCLA passing core.
Rolston serve passed by Scambray. And Liana Sebeldon, absolutely unconscious.
Yes, she's ultimately been unstoppable, particularly in this stretch. 12 kills, hitting .478. The percentage is just going higher, and 6 blocks.
And now, and with that one, 13 kills. Lawless shut down by Scambray and Sebeldon.
And what a way to end. It's been Sebeldon all night long, and she ended it with a huge kill, giving her 13 for the night, and then a massive block to close out the set and the match.
For Sebeldon and Washington, up next is USC. For UCLA, what do they need to fix before their next match?
Again, I think it was all about their first contact. They were really erratic when it came to passing. You saw that when they passed a nice ball, they were able to get their middles involved, which hasn't always been the case for this season. So they need to go back, regroup, really work on the serve-receive play, and then see if they can regroup for the next match coming up.
For Washington, what's going to be their greatest test against UCLA?
I think just USC, the speed and quickness of that offense. It's really challenging, so we'll see if their blockers can shut them down like they did tonight.
What a fun win for Washington as they remain undefeated and sweep UCLA. For Josh Grau and our incredible Pac-12 crew, I'm Anne-Marie Anderson saying so long for now from Los Angeles, where 5th-ranked Washington remains undefeated.
We now join this program already in